My sister tried to rip my newborn out of my arms, then filed a CPS for reclaiming my husband beat her. When I begged her to stop calling herself mama at the hospital, she smiled and said, "He's Josh. She knows who I am. You were just a carrier." I stayed silent. That was 18 months ago. Last night, she stood outside her new house in the rain, cradling a doll and whispering lullabies to it like it could cure her. My sister Georgia was 7 months pregnant with her miracle lady when she got spiked and taken advantage of by one of her closest male friends. She regained consciousness 12 hours later. Now, with a flat belly, bruising in her nether regions and dry blood all around her thighs, the guy got off on a suspended sentence. I became pregnant 18 months ago, and Georgia saw this as her miracle boy being reborn in my womb. She showed up to the hospital while I was in labor with fake documents. She's a surrogate. I'm the real mother. My parents were right there backing her up. Georgia tried to literally rip my baby out of my arms when the nurses wouldn't listen to her. For the next week, Georgia visited daily and called herself mama in front of everyone. She'd take hundreds of photos and post them online as her newborn. It got so overwhelming they had to block her, but she retaliated by filing false CPS report while the worker at her house Georgia showed up at. Her parents were concerned too. They said Georgia even had black eye painted with me. Her husband gave this to me, but I chose not to press charges because he was just drinking heavily and didn't mean it. The worker called me and my husband in her interview. Sam was placed with Georgia during the investigation. I spent every second fearing my baby would be taken away from me, but 2 weeks later, her names were finally cleared. My husband and I drove to Georgia's house, where we found Sam physically incapacitated in his crib. My husband physically restrains Georgia, and as I stooped Sam up into my arms, he instinctively hugged me and buried his head into my chest. Georgia screams, "I'm getting him back." As we were leaving 7 days later, I woke up to nanny cam detect motion in our daughter's room. Georgia was holding Sam, who was already crying. She used the spare he ever forgot she had, and was telling a little lie, telling him, "Mommy's here." When I whisper, screaming at her, she told me to be quiet because I would wake Joshua, not Sam. Josh, the boy, was meant to give birth to all those years ago. She only handed Sam back to me because I called the police. My husband and I went straight to court. We filed a restraining order, but the judge, J. Knight, said there was no credible threat of violence shown, and it didn't help that my parents took her side during the testimony. Sadly for Georgia, her husband filed for divorce after seeing the security footage played in court.